and welcome to ESC. Today we're welcoming experimental super challenges to the Extreme Scrutiny Club. Each episode we bring 3 robots to our very own fight club. We vote as a collective on whether they should ascend alongside other worthy fighters in the arena of sky, be condemned to the Pit of Oblivion, where the rest of the losers, especially Cassius Chrome, linger. Wait a minute, who wrote that? That's not part of the script.
I mean, I thought you wrote the script.
No, not.
I mean, it would be helpful if you could read the script properly first time, Mitchell.
I feel like I'm being.
He's using your full name. We've had a really awesome guest today, by the way. Also, it's our second time we've had a return from our wonderful RoboNerd special.
Indeed we do. Guest, please introduce yourself.
I'm tempted to say something else, but yeah, my name's Two Penny Milk. You know me by with Anarchy, Fighty Robot, a blue push to exit robot that got killed by spinners.
And King of the Antweights, I think we'd like to say.
Mm-hmm.
That title, is well deserved.
I'd say more the Joker. Oh no, not the Joker. No. Oh god, that went bad.
Oh no.
But what are we talking about today, Mitch?
Well, today we're talking about pioneers of pain, robots that came to sport with something new and left a mark on this fantastic community we're part of. So, with that being said, I am the referee for this episode. God help everyone, because we know I like to play dirty. Kind of. But hey, enough about me. I have to take a back seat. Who wants to start this episode?
So we are talking about the pioneers of this fucking sport. We're talking about people who paved the way for robots that came after it. How can you talk about anything other than Mortis?
Yeah.
Good choice, good choice. Okay, are you ready to talk about Mortis?
I am Freddy for ready.
You're Freddy for ready. Great. You've got
My
3.
body is Reggie.
Fantastic reference. I understood that one. Right, you have 3 seconds. No, sorry. 3
That
minutes.
was my joke last episode. I literally did that joke last episode.
I know, I thought I'd reference it. Hello.
And welcome to ESC. We're self-referential now.
Hey, it wasn't my reference, at least. I
That one walk guy.
You have 3 minutes on the clock to talk about Mortis, starting now.
Okay, so starting with season 1 of Robot Wars, Mortis paved the way for modern robots completely. It used technology, design features, and general build methodology that is seen to this day. I don't think anyone could take away from the fact that if you are an axe bot, a flipper bot, a multi-weapon bot, a tracked robot, you will have at some point considered and researched Mortis. It is an absolute legend in the sport, and despite the fact that it didn't have the best record it could have had, it genuinely was probably one of the most effective bots in the early series. I'm a huge fan of this bot, even if it, has had some tumbles with some bots that I also love. And I genuinely think that, again, if you're considering building a modern axe bot, if you're considering building a modern lifting arm robot, and if you're considering building a low front wedge, robots like Mortis are something that you will have to look into. I think it paved the way for a lot of modern designs, and it's a shame that it only went up until Series 4 of Robot Wars. I mean, a lot of the bots' technology and build methodology went into further robots of Rob Knights, for example, such as Obwarden Overlord. The Mortis team had a habit of pushing the envelope a little and being, unique. It's a real shame that they never got further. But again, unfortunately, when you're pushing the envelope and doing such new things, sometimes those things don't pay off. And I think my final point I want to put is that who could hate the robot that put holes in Leebot so much that it turned it into a pepper pot? I'm opening it up to the floor.
You have 56 seconds left.
I'm going to jump in.
Said everything I need to say.
If Reira's done, I'm going to jump in.
I'm the referee, but okay, go ahead.
Reira, can you be a bit more specific about what Mortis innovates? Because I looked at this robot and I read through the wiki article and I watched all its fights, and I cannot deny that it's a beautiful piece of engineering. It's
Extremely
very
ahead of its time.
It's very, very professionally done. But other axes existed at the time. The armor that it's using, Kevlar and carbon fiber, is maybe experimented with by a few other robots. Once spinners became a viable threat, was quickly phased out. The axe mechanism, the repeating axe that it fires hit after hit after hit. People more favour the one large hit. I can't deny that it's a technological marvel, but
Ooh.
work with me here. What is it innovating?
Oh, you've been really harsh. You've really taken apart my
Damn.
argument. Damn. So I'd like to think, in my opinion, I will very much push here. I'd like to think that Mortis was very much ahead of its time. I don't think any robot quite competed with the same level of technology and research that went into Mortis. I think Mortis definitely innovated using the scientific method to design and innovate your robot. I think that a lot of the control mechanisms used as well, as much as some of them may have been a little gimmicky, were completely unique.
I was going to bring that one up too.
And again, I think that when it comes to robots paving the way for future competition, when it comes to multi-weapon, when it comes to lifting arms, and when it comes to multi-hit axes as well, the fast hit axe. And again, the armor at the time when spinners were not so prevalent was nigh on unpenetrable.
Well,
Impenetrable.
Matilda's chainsaw left some pretty nice marks in it in Series 1.
Marks, yeah, but it didn't get through it.
Anthony, would you like to say anything about Mortis?
I think it's a badass. With Mortis, I do agree with Reira when it comes to when you see the top armor taken off and you can see all the internal parts of it. I do think it was ahead of its time,
Oh,
but
it's beautiful.
I also do think that it also it was kind of like Razor in a way, where there's only so much you could do with it, and advance it. When it came to Series 4, I think that's kind of where they couldn't do any more with it. They couldn't upgrade it or make it better. I'd have to say I did love the fact that it had the speed of a track robot. The design
very much had a time limit on it, is sort of what you're saying. It it was ahead of its time in season 1, but by season 4 it sort of had become obsolete. It was a bit of a flash in the pan robot, I suppose. And I can agree with Anthony's point there for definite. I do think that by season 4, this robot, had its time.
I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm going to be really, really harsh here. I don't think that I don't quite think that's the case. Yeah, there is elements of Mortis which, it is more or less the same robot design going from Series 1 through Series 4, with minor upgrades going here and there. But I think if they beefed up the axe mechanism a little bit more to allow it to self-right, they lowered the wedge. I think Mortis could have had maybe not as successful as say their Series 2 run. I think they could have had is it Series 2 or am I completely ballsing up that there?
I mean, Series 2 it did okay, yeah.
Yeah, Series 2 is what I meant, yeah. I was thinking, is that I was getting Series 2 and Series 3 confused.
Lost a panic attack in the semi-final in Series,
which was its best showing.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think it could have recaptured that, but I think with a ground scraping wedge and a little bit more power behind the axe to allow it to self-right and to, you look at robots like Terahertz, we're still making the axe work all the way into, the mid to late 2000s and into the reboot. I guess like I said at the beginning, I don't deny that it's a beautiful robot, but the fact that the wiki points out that, the main feature of this robot was how much money they spent on it, even though they didn't actually spend that much money on it.
I don't want you to compare this to Rapid. I don't think that, it will be a fair thing to say that Mortis's most unique thing is that it was a very expensive robot. I think that the most unique and sort of new thing about Mortis when entering the arena was that scientific design. I think that when you include people like Rob Knight, like Arthur Chilcott in a machine, you're going to get insanely maybe zany designs, again pointing out a Walden Overlord from Rob Knight later on in Battlebots. And again, we were going to discuss it anyway, but that controller,
that controller was pretty badass. I think,
it was also way too over engineered. The thing is that I don't think Mortis was.
He could have just used a lanyard. That's kind of what most people do.
That Mortis was all about doing something new. And
See,
I feel that you're sort of taking away from it by saying, what has it done that's unique? And, what has it done that it was...
See, I may be wrong thinking it this way, but from when I seen Mortis, and just why I'm talking more about the producer side of things, I do agree with you when people always talk about it cost so much money and that was its biggest thing. But I think from a producer standpoint, standpoint, at its time, it was ahead of its time. Where they looked at and had all this hope going, this is a good educational tool. Like it's really well engineered. It looks the part. It did fail that side of things, and I think then at coming to Series 4, I think that the producers started to let go of that and go, we like Mortis, but we've now got other machines coming on board that are more advanced, more educational stuff. But I do respect the fact that the team themselves have they put a lot of thought into that machine.
I mean, have you guys seen the picture of Mortis without its armor in Series 2 on the
Yeah.
wiki?
Yeah.
Look at that. Take yourself out of this for a moment. And if I told you, hey, this is a robot that's being built for Season 5 of BattleBots coming up in 2020 before it's had a lot of its tech put on it, would you disbelieve me? Honestly. Look at that internal chassis design.
Yeah, I would
Looks
say it
so
would be like a
solid.
big up to the close to the modern day stuff. Like you can never deny that with it. Like even if you think about it, it did have a sort of success in BattleBots, if I can recall, with the fights and that there. Like it seemed to like I don't know when more disappeared in BattleBots, what season it was at Robot Wars, but it looked to be like a proper brawler in the BattleBots one more than the Robot Wars
It did
I
fight.
quite
mean,
well at
let's
BattleBots.
not forget that the successor to Mortis, Rigor Mortis, the axe, I believe, found its way onto Radioactive in 2015.
Yes. I
Oh,
believe it
okay.
did, yes.
That's
Um,
impressive.
but no, Anthony, I couldn't agree with you more on the whole cutting edge kind of thing. In
Yeah.
that back in sort of Series 1, Series 2, ultimately the draw with Mortis is not one individual aspect. I know I was picking on the individual aspects to start this, but I was kind of playing devil's advocate. It's the package as a whole. It's
Yeah.
bringing together a well-designed axe, stream-mech, drive system, armor.
I
And
genuinely want to bring up that internal chassis
oh,
bulkheads as well.
absolutely. But
Those were
what I'm
huge.
what I'm saying is that Anthony's kind of right. By Series 4, they've not stayed so far ahead of everything that they were in of everyone of the rest of the pack in Series 2. Sort of drawn maybe not level with them, but they don't quite have the same appeal.
Yeah.
Can I take a quick moment to take a bit of a tangent?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We've talked before about some of Jonathan Pierce's weird sayings.
Oh no. Yep, I know where this is going, but go
This is gonna be
ahead.
interesting. Okay.
About the Cornish legend of Beast of Bodmin and that kind of thing. Can I just say how much I enjoy the ongoing commentary about its Japanese blade?
I know that was
Martial
it was such an obsession.
And I did do a little bit of googling into this, and yeah, it looks vaguely like a Japanese sword called a tanto. But
It does not. I
Jonathan
don't think
Pierce
they
was
designed it
obsessed
after
with it.
that.
Was as obsessed with that. He comes in Series 2 and he's calling this martial arts weapon. Oh, and also apparently the weapon was used to trim Arthur Chilcott's beard.
There you go.
Yes,
That's a
that was
brave man.
hilarious.
I will,
A braver man than me.
I will
Yeah.
just step in here with some facts for a moment because we very possibly might not have got that Japanese Tanto blade because this was originally designed to feature two horizontally opposed ice axes instead, but of course that didn't go ahead and we got what we have today.
Something Robot Arena 2?
Ah.
Some of it
Did they just
being-
go on Robot Arena 2 and get the ice pick from the stock game?
Um,
Hold on a goddamn fucking second. So yes, so Rigor Mortis's weapon pod was later. So the weapon pod entirely beautiful was later reused for Make Robotics' entry Radioactive, right?
Mhm.
But so Mortis has changed hand quite a bit. So it went to Team Bud, who became something to do with Team S Tech. I don't have any.
Yes, that's our team captain Shane and Jason from Thor.
Yeah.
They owned it, and I think now who owns it now
Anyway.
is Behemoth.
So yeah, but it went to a few people in between that as well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It went to a team called Maelstrom for a while. It then went to Team Roaming Robots, so John Findlay.
Oh, okay.
And then it went to Team Make Robotics. But they also got a hold of Rigor Mortis, and so they got Mortis and Rigor Mortis in that deal.
Oh, nice.
I would-
Damn.
I would like to just say some points, just because I want to just look at both sides of the thing here. So I want to say, first of all, that if we look at Hydra, because I feel that Hydra, I was expecting Hydra to be brought up, because I feel Hydra did Mortis's job a lot better in like later series.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Absolutely fair.
That was just something I thought would be brought up. Also, to help Reira's point a bit, Mortis and Plunderbird 1 were the only robots in Series 1 to use tracks as locomotion, so maybe a bit of innovation there, because the only two robots, you got Mortis
Yeah, but
on
also
one side.
Kilotron was also using an axe, but there were robots doing the same things at the same time
Oh,
as
yeah.
this, which is what I was saying.
Name me
think-
another multi-weapon robot as effective as Mortis in season 1.
Mortis didn't have multi-weapons in Series 1.
No, it was
Can I
planned
say this
to
debate is going
It didn't have the flipper until season 2, did it?
Season 3.
Season
I
3.
think-
Was it season 3 it got the flipper?
It was planned for Series 2, but it didn't go ahead.
Oh, it was planned for season 2.
So much information.
There's a lot of information. Also,
Yeah, welcome to ESC, Anthony.
This is a brilliant. I love it.
oh, we're glad you do. Just a few of the things I want to point out. So apparently, Mortis was meant to have a faster axe for Series 4, but eventually they used the original one for Series 3.
Yeah,
One of the first,
they talk about that in
robots
Series
to
4,
use
isn't it?
brushless.
What?
They were one of the first robots to use brushless.
What?
Oh, okay, that's news. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Series 3. Additionally, the original DC drive and weapon systems were replaced with lighter and more powerful system incorporating a brushless servo motor donated by the Swiss company.
What?
Okay, now, all right. That's pretty badass.
Okay, I mean, I'm ready to vote. If they were the first robots to use brushless, that's innovative enough for me.
Don't
On
know if
top
it
of the
says
whole design.
the first, but at least
One
one
of.
of the first. Also, Mortis beat up Frenzy, so you know.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. You have to give that one. That was a good brawl.
That was a
It
good
was.
Personal bias aside.
I'm ready to vote.
Yeah,
Right.
same here. I
Yep.
mean, I brought it to put it in the arena because it is a god of this sport.
And
Well-
I've criticised it a little bit, but you've more than justified why you bought this robot.
That's why we do this. We do this to have that debate.
I will just say, I can clarify your point. Mortis became the first Robot Wars competitor known to use brushless motors. So there could have been other robots that did it, but they
didn't
known.
do it
So-
publicly. Yeah.
So Mortis was the first known. And also, just a random last fact before I take us over to the voting. Mortis had the highest decline of any seeding in robots, going from second seed in Series 2
Ah,
to 23rd in Series 4.
Oh.
ouch.
What a fool. Anyway, right. I think we need to see some movement on voting. So the floor is open. Where are you putting Mortis?
Arena. I didn't bring it to put it anywhere else. It is a god of this sport. It deserves every single minute of being in that arena.
That's one to the arena.
I would definitely say Arena because to me, well engineered. It was ahead of its time, and as we now we've discovered something new about it. It was the first one to have brushless, so that definitely gets another big giant vote for the Arena.
Let's go into the arena. Oliver was a bit harsh on it at first, but I think he might have come around. Maybe not. Where you sending it, Oliver?
I'm not going to do what Gravedigger did and put it in the pit. No, I'm going to send it to the arena.
Hey.
Ooh, nice one.
No
Nice
anime
3-0.
betrayals this time.
No
Yeah,
anime
3-0.
betrayals today.
No anime betrayals. He doesn't betray me this time. Ha. Yes, that's 3-0 for Mortis. Well deserved, I must say. So let's move on to
Alright.
the next one. Who wants to go next?
Let you go. Do
I don't mind.
you want to go then, or yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, stop being so friendly. One of you kill each other and go first.
I'm too nice for my own good.
Talking of killing each other, I am me to go next because I am bringing Blendo.
Yes.
Ooh.
Are you ready to talk 3 minutes about Blender?
I am more than ready to talk 3 minutes about Blendo.
Fantastic. Well, your minutes start now.
What most people probably know about Blendo is that it was built by the Mythbusters, Jamie Heineman and Adam Savage, and it was too dangerous to compete and then did really badly in BattleBots. But there's a lot more to this robot. Firstly, it embodies a lot of that sort of use whatever you have kind of spirit of the early days of Robot Wars, and makes a lot of sense from Adam and Jamie's background in special effects and model work, because the body was made out of an old, the cooking instrument. And on top of that, it was, as far as I can tell, quite possibly the first modern spinner. I'm not talking spinning
was.
saw blades
It was.
here. I'm not talking spinning saw blades. I'm not talking, the sort of early weapons that you have in Robot Wars. No, I'm talking full on kinetic energy, slamming your teeth into into opposing robots and just using the inertia of the shell to create damage. And it did pretty well in its early appearance, but wasn't allowed to compete enough due to safety restrictions, and I think that's probably where it fell down. It didn't have the time and the energy and the effort put in it to develop it, especially with the creators' TV careers taking off. But I think, what can you say about this thing? It's an innovator, and it's almost certainly the thing that has made robot combat what it is today. I've heard a very interesting story from Anthony, backed up with Facebook messages and things from Jim Smentowski. Blendo was the inspiration for Nightmare. Blendo fought Jim Smentowski's first robot, destroyed it, and Jim went away and built Nightmare to defeat Blendo. They didn't fight, but the famous vertical spinner all-weapon robot only exists because this thing was made. What more do I need to say?
Fact of the day.
Well,
Holy fuck.
if you're so keen, you've got 40 seconds. Any last points?
I don't need to say anymore.
Okay,
I will exit the competition early for just having too strong an argument.
Well,
I mean, my point exactly was going to be that they literally had to tell Blendo, please, you win. We're sorry. Don't kill any of the other robots. You're too scary. You just win by default. We'll still continue the tournament, but you win.
Which is kind of a shame because I think the robot was certainly not undefeatable. I think
not at all.
I think if it came up against something like
dead.
La Machine, a really sturdy wedge, it may have met its match, and it would have been really great to see that. But the footage that we have is just it turning up, completely destroying a few robots, and then the producers saying, "Yeah, nah."
Didn't it absolutely annihilate Punja?
Punja, yes, is the famous one.
And Hercules?
Yeah, that's another one.
Well, in that case, I guess we're welcome to open up. But I will just say, because Oliver said he has nothing left to say, he's not allowed to say anymore. Referees rules.
What?
He just said you didn't
Mitch
say
has
anymore.
decided tonight that he's just going to change the format of every episode.
Well,
So,
no, he literally said, he went, "No, I've got nothing else to say. I'm going to leave my point there." And I was like, "Okay, cool. You don't have anything else to say."
You know that's not what.
I have some more fun facts for
Are
you
we
about
actually
Blendo.
silencing Oliver?
Yeah.
Do you have the power? Does the orc have the power to kill the Dark Knight?
Yes. No, I don't. I really don't. I'm just joking.
Do you want to give us some fun facts, Anthony?
Yes, please
Some
do.
fun facts for about.
Introducing a new section to ESC, Fun Facts with Anthony Murney. Yay!
Hey!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and here's the fun facts about Blendo. So, as you mentioned there, Hercules. Hercules is actually the first robot that Nightmare team made. That's the one that got destroyed, and then that was after that machine was destroyed, they decided to make Nightmare. For Blendo, how to turn Blendo on was how Jamie had to turn it on was a screwdriver or a drill. He had to go onto the top of the robot, put the drill in to turn on the combustible engine and move away. So imagine a full body spinner where you had to literally put stand on top of it and put a drill in
Links
to
are
turn
better
it
than
on.
switches.
Any ESC fans out there with some wonderful artistic skills, please do your best artist renditions of Brian Nave turning on Captain Shredderator while standing on top of it and then going for a wheelie go round.
Oh no! I want that to be the be Jamie on top of Blendo, just because that would be hilarious.
There actually is footage of Jamie doing that, like turn it like before the Hercules fight.
You guys carry on talking. I'll go find it.
Yeah, it is terrifying. Another thing too was, and this is how beautiful he was at the designing this. He had very low ground clearance, so he had his blades at the very bottom of his robot. So no matter how fast you could get at him, he could just hit you straight away. You'd have to be something to the level of a really good wedge like La Machine or other machines. But when it started to go to BattleBots time, that's when it started to really show its age. And it's such a shame because I would have loved to see more of Blendo, because in the Robot Wars era, like when it was going to these arenas and stuff and just smashing machines left, right, and center. Like, yes, it is, and it's also known as the very first spinner. There's an interview with Jamie talking about that, and like it terrified the people there because they're used to like machines coming in with like chainsaws and axes and little tiny bits of devices. Then you have this
whatever the
walk.
fuck you call that weird clampy thing that the master had.
Ramming poles.
Ramming poles.
Like Blendo's shell was a giant walk. Like that's absolutely amazing. Like I admire the ingenuity with this machine. I just loved his mentality too when he talks about it. I just wanted to make something scary and destroy things.
When are we getting Bite Force versus Blendo, and which one survives?
Ah, that would be no Blendo and Gigabyte. Now, that would be a fight to see. That would be it'd be something like the Kronos fight.
Blendo, Gigabyte, Kronos, and
Nightmare. It's such a shame that he never got to fight it because, like, after
and to throw extra madness into the mix, let's also put in, is it Whammo, the one that's Apex?
Yeah.
Wow, yes. Oh,
Oh.
that would be that would be
the thing,
deadly.
Hypothetical world here.
Hmm?
If Blendo had fought Nightmare, what do we think the result would have been?
I think the
Thermonuclear detonation.
I think if it got a good hit on the wheel, it would knock Nightmare. But if Nightmare got like a proper, like, full-on beat and hit it, I'd say it would go right through.
Yeah, it's all down to that first hit, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
most fights.
It's do you know what I would say would happen? Imagine the Mauler and Nightmare fight. Now, if
God.
Nightmare had got a good angle and went straight forward and hit it straight on, it would have knocked it out. But because it went an angle and exposed the wheel, that's basically what happened to Nightmare. So I imagine that would happen with Blendo.
I hate talking positively about this robot because, of course, of what it did to my precious child. Rest in peace, my baby detonator. But would Frenzy have had a good chance against? Because Frenzy had a ridiculous reach with that thing. Like,
I think it would have
ridiculous
twanged.
reach.
Like, if it, the thing about with Blendo is, and that's the best thing about what Jamie had said about the design of it, you can go in any direction. You're still going to get hit with this.
So you think that that axe hammer would come down on top of Blendo and
Frenzy
would just
had
be
It
knocked away?
would have to get a very, very
It-
lucky hit. The thing with
Yeah.
Frenzy is because it's got that reach. If you can get close enough to it, you're inside the range of the axe. Well, it's sort of inside, so like a safe zone.
Yeah.
When you get close enough to that body where the axe can't actually reach you because it's so long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it would be a very lucky hit. I think it would be
It'd
more
be a very
likely that Blendo
interesting
would
fight.
take it.
Yeah, I would go for Blendo with that.
Especially if we're looking at the frenzy that was around in the late 90s.
I would say actually it could very well be a early retelling of Surgeon General vs. Kilohertz.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Orc with the deep cuts.
well, I mean, if you look how that fight went, of course the spinner's much different because that's an actual horizontal spinning blade, this massive shell spinner kind of. But I feel that with how the robots were back then, yes, okay, they were fairly sturdy in parts, but I feel that I don't fancy Frenzy's axe staying on.
No, I would see that being ripped apart.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Valid point.
I have tried finding a video about this, though it's not showing the actual robot starting to spin, but there is footage of Mr.
Jamie starting it up.
Yeah, I will put this in. It's only the first few seconds if you want to take a look, but here you go. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ah, this fight.
So
Trust me,
Well,
when
I
I
think-
seen that happen, I was like, "Oh my god, this man's mental." Great.
But yeah, I think the fact that Adam and Jamie were the two behind this is also this thing's downfall. They're people with their fingers in a lot of pies. They got
Yeah.
a lot of not only their television career but their special effects careers and everything else that they do. Blender was never going to get the time and devotion to it that it needed. I mean, after one of Blendo's fights in I think '97 Robot Wars, there's footage of Adam just coming out of the arena saying, "I want to go to Disneyland now," which is very him. But also, it kind of sums up the fact that it was a brilliant idea, but it's taken other people to take it to what we have today.
That exact line and that attitude, so that exact interview you're talking about was actually the inspiration towards my Bugglebots I want to take a nap. The whole what do you want to do now? I want to go to Disneyland. And they were just like, when they were walking us through the end, I was like, I need to make a good reference to that, but what can I say? I was like, after such a good tournament, you know what? I think I'm ready to lay down and take a nap.
There's another fact as well with two of them is like Jamie and Adam. They've been very very vocal with this. They have a love-hate relationship with each other. So like they'll have creative differences. Where Adam wanted it not to be like a really powerful spinner, where Jamie just wanted to make the ultimate spinner to take on anything. Another thing that kind of made me go, this is crazy, is the drive motors are the reason for how to use the spinner. So it could only go in one direction. So it could only go forward. I couldn't go backwards.
It kind of reminds me of La Machine in a sense that robot didn't have speed controller. The only way that steered was just by turning the left and right motors on and off.
we'll save that for later. Shh.
That machine literally just went forward, back, forward on one side. Do you mean left? No,
Doom.
forward on one side.
La Machine is basically the YouTube robot combat community pre-June last year. Didn't have any ESC.
Oh, that was such a good one. Oh, I love it.
Do we have anything else we want to say about Blendo, or shall we go straight to that voting?
It's fucking terrifying.
Yes,
Especially
I
with their
agree.
safety standards. Like, if
Yeah.
Belando completed today, compared to, the brushless full-bodied spinners that we have now, and something like Tombstone, pales in comparison. But
I've
the
just
safety that they had, or lack thereof, that's what makes it terrifying.
It makes it feel like one of those Indian events with a chain link
Oh,
fence
no.
about 2 foot high.
Oh,
But no, folks,
Oh.
this was
That's still giving
American
me-
robot combat.
The birth of Robot Combat too, the very beginning. This thing.
Oh, yeah.
This thing could have fought against Greg Munson.
To be quite honest, I'm surprised that the audience, didn't have brown trousers, if I'm honest. Or they did, and just,
I
didn't
probably
get up.
fucking would have.
I would have too. But on that rather disgusting note, I'm going to take us straight to the voting, so please vote on Blend.
I vote that we give it the entire ESC championship and ask it to not compete further.
Actually, I can't argue with that.
Arena.
Okay, there's one vote to the arena.
I definitely have to say Arena because it's one badass machine, and I would not want Jamie looking at me going, "Yes, I win. Yes, you do win. Yes, just you don't hurt me."
Unsurprisingly, this thing, especially compared to everything else at the time, scary, scary, scary. Step up to Brown Alert and send it
90
right up to the arena.
Hang on. So 95.
Yes.
When was Robot Wars Series 1, UK Robot Wars Series 1 filmed?
98, 99, 98, I think.
This thing
Hang
was
on,
3 years before Detonator?
Now,
Yep.
this is where we say, Reira, you complain about frenzy.
Oh.
Imagine this against Detonate.
I'm
Okay, so
currently thinking it.
Adam,
Kaboom.
Jamie, you're probably not
Yeah.
listening, but if you are, how much money do I have to pay you?
right, so
Look, there is no Detonator at the moment, and Tripwire is only in the initial phases.
I can reveal that Series 1 was filmed in 1997, November 1997, sorry.
So 2 years before this video you sent of us of Blendo versus Namorico 2000, I'm genuinely terrified of the thought of if Robot Combat had been what it is today, and you could have a UK bot fighting a US bot piss easy, just fly it over and we'll have a fight sort of thing, like you do now, of, we'll just both compete in China and we'll fight there sort of thing. Detonator versus Blendo. Detonator, Blendo.
To
Kaboom.
be fair, it makes me wonder how the house robots would fare against Blender.
Blendo versus the Killer Lot.
Get that away from me now. Get it
Well,
away.
on that note, I think it's safe to say that Blendo gets the S rank 5 out of 10. No, 5-0, 12 out of 10. Please leave our arena. Don't return. You win everything, and you win all subsequent tournaments.
Grey
So-
domes are better than green domes.
I
Oh,
will fight you on this. Fucking test me, Stapley.
Oliver, as much as we know that Blendo's the better robot, she will kill you.
Oh, I know.
And look, I don't have to worry about it because I'm the referee. You're the one making all. She will kill you. She will.
I
stab
have
you.
a spoon.
She has a spoon. I don't know. That is.
That's a
But
deadly
Reira,
weapon.
Reira, what
Don't
if
mess the
I
person with a
have
spoon.
coronavirus?
He's using his new
I beg
weapon,
your
I
pardon.
see.
Bioweapons aren't allowed in bloody Robot Wars. Fuck off.
Right,
something biohazard.
I'm
Okay,
I'm
that
sorry.
was good.
I've
I
got
like
to give you a
that
red card for that. CPZ, face the corner. Rest of the episode.
Anthony, break up the madness. Who did you bring?
I'm controlling madness.
Oh, you want me?
Go on, let's hear it. Yes, go on.
But yes. Okay, so I
Okay.
brought something shiny. Something.
You did
something,
say about
wedgy.
liking shiny things in our Robo.
I do like shiny. I do like shiny things.
In the
That,
arena specifically for the reason that it was shiny at Robo Nerd.
it's shiny and it moved. This is another shiny. It moved. Moved very well. I bring La Machine.
Oh, nice.
The reason why I bring this robot in is because it has so much history, and I truly believe it
All right,
pioneered the
should we
wedge.
start the time
Like,
before you get too far into it?
I'm happy to listen to this, to be honest. Are you ready
Yes.
to start talking? Absolutely. You have 3
Yes.
minutes. Starting
Yes.
now.
Yes. So as I said, I believe this has pioneered the wedge. It also pioneered something that's very fond to me, rambots. Back in the day, it was a really, if you look at the ingenuity of this machine, was you think like, okay, this is going to have loads of space and loads of like room for speed controllers, batteries. But when you take the shell off the lab machine, it's just this tiny little robot. So it's kind of like a turtle. So it's basically like no matter how much you damage the outside shell, you're not really damaging the internal part of it, which I thought was pretty ingenuity with it. Another thing too is with the weapon setup. Eventually, it got its own spike, so there was more like ingenuity to it as well, where they had an idea where it would go up the wedge and it would shoot like a ram. It would hit it and punch robots away, and it did really well. Like as you were saying before, yes, it didn't really have a lot of steer and stuff, but it had some really spectacular fights. I do think it did have a fight with Blendo. I think it did win. I'm not too sure, but like the other thing I love with this machine as well, it also pioneered Robot Wars because it was one of the 3 that was invited over to show robot combat to the UK. Now the UK did have their own machines as they then became loner bots, but it was
Grunt,
really cool
Mitch
to
was one of them.
see.
I hate you so
Yes.
much. Can't talk, Nancy. Sorry.
No, as I was saying, it showed the UK that wedges can win, and yes, it eventually. I think like it showed a lot of ingenuity to new people. Like if you really look back at BattleBots, and I mean like season 1 and season 2, there was a lot of wedge machines, wedge robots, and I believe that those roboteers went to the first Robot Wars events and seen that this is a good weapon setup. If I don't have the ingenuity to make a flipper or a spinner or a really cool, crazy design, I can start off with a wedge and work my way up. And another fun fact too, as we all know, is that these guys went on to make BattleBots. And I love the fact that La Machine still to this day like holds a big fond memory to people, because in season 4, if I'm correct, it appeared on the card where everyone thought season 3. It appeared there, and it made all the rumors going, "Oh my god, it's going to come back." I was the guy that I couldn't get over it. I really loved it. And another fact for that's I'm very fond with La Machine. It's actually the first Antweight I ever made. It never appeared on Antweight Anarchy. This actually helped me with my tech course where we had to build something for robotics, and I built La Machine, and I won the little fight. So basically, there's like we had to build all different like our favorite machines and fight them, and I decided to go with the wedge because I that's my weapon setup. I love a really good wedge and really good speed and power behind it, and I thought let's go with the, as I would say it. I know people might disagree with it, but the granddaddy of wedges. And yeah, it helped. It made me come first place at the little course. So I think it's a beautiful machine, and I love the ingenuity with it. I love the fact that they decided that the wedge was starting to get a wee bit boring, and they went on to make a weapon for it. A part of that team went off and made Vlad the Impaler, which is another amazing machine. So this team alone also then went off and made Ginzu. So you've got 3 great machines. You've got Ginzu, you've got La Machine, and you've got Vlad the Impaler. And it all started off with
talk about Vlad
La
the Impaler
Machine
too.
And
Yeah,
it's there.
It was certainly a robot that happened.
It's speedy.
I will have
That and the fact with La Machine is it's super shiny and it moved, and I loved it. And that's how I end my debate.
Tick boxes of robot combat. Is it shiny? Does it move?
If it moves, it's got a point in my books.
I didn't want to interrupt Hansi. That was a very, very good point. So
Do you want to know the big dick energy that this machine
Hmm?
has?
I beg your pardon.
Go on, I'm listening.
In 1995, La Machine was a middleweight. It won the middleweight tournament, was so good, went into the heavyweight rumble, and won that too, as a middleweight.
I'd like to just point out to our team that would be the equivalent of K2 from Bugglebots going to the local featherweight championship and cleaning fucking hell.
I mean, it probably could.
Need I say more? It's a shiny badass.
So I have two wonderful things about this. I have a fun fact and I have a really shameful confession.
Oh dear.
So I have a fun fact, which is the
Mm.
fact that La Machine was also repurposed the Long Beach BattleBots event as the camera bot.
That is a fun
Because-
fact.
Yeah, Greg
they
and
took it
Trey
on.
used it as the camera bot.
Oh my god!
So whenever they pan to camera bot and it's this sort of weird thing carrying a camera, that's La Machine.
Oh my god, that's
Wow.
so good.
So
And here's my-
Full House robots.
So shamefully, I always get La Machine mixed up with another shiny US wedge, and it's one that Anthony will probably have some interesting experience with because it fought Weldor. And I shamefully admit that I
Oh my.
often mix up La Machine and Prometheus.
Oh yeah,
Very
yeah.
similar in
I'll give you that. Yeah.
design, apart from Prometheus was shit.
Hey,
Had a petrol
so
engine.
loud.
every great robot has its imitators. Every Razor has its Ming 3. Every La Machine has...
Every detonator has its bite force, you know.
Oh dear.
But yeah, and I just La Machine is just so iconic. The fact that they continue to use it as a joke to this day as well, like the fight cards with La
Yeah.
Machine on the last year when they revealed the picture of Farouk holding an intro card, and if you zoomed in on it, it was an intro written for La Machine. Greg and Trey know how much La Machine is an icon in the sport, and they continue to use it
Oh,
as
yeah.
not just a joke, but a recognizable household name in robotics.
I also think too, and this is just for myself or speaking for myself, is with your very first robot, it'll always be your fondest one. You'll
Mhm.
always remember that. That's the one that got you into robot combat, and it's so nice to know that they haven't forgot their roots, if that makes sense. Where like they still love their machine. Like maybe it's not in combat anymore, but it's still like this was our first try
And
at robot combat, and
for,
it's
it
lovely.
being their first try, you can't help but tell them that they got it right on their first try.
Oh yeah.
The robot was
Yeah.
built in 95. It competed in the 2001 BattleBots Season 3.0 for a heavyweight rumble, and it didn't win the rumble,
Against-
but
it was Chin Killer, Dreadnought, and I want to say Ginsu.
Yeah.
it was Ginsu. And
Hang on, it
Yeah, it was
fought
Ginsu.
against its bigger brother.
well, here's
Yes,
the
it
fun
did.
fact. La Machine was being driven by Greg and Trey. Ginsu was being driven by some TV hosts, one of which was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh.
No way!
What?
Wow.
Jimmy
No,
Kimmel,
really?
he's like
Because they were
Sean
fighting
and
against-
YouTube podcasts. He gets everywhere.
They were talking about
damn.
because they were fighting Jay Leno as well because Chin Killer.
Oh yeah,
Hang
yeah.
on, they had a Jay Leno
That's a nice
versus
fun
Jimmy
fact.
Kimmel.
The ultimate
On
showdown
BattleBots.
of showmen.
This is a real thing that happened on TV. You can
I-
go watch it. It's on YouTube.
I can't believe that. That just doesn't sound right, but it is.
Do you know? Okay. Do you want to hear something that sounds even less right?
Yeah.
I love these fun facts. Continue.
I'm not going to try and pronounce his name and butcher it, but the guy behind Vlad the Impaler, he was the one
Oh
who helped
God,
come
yeah,
up.
I've just seen that name.
He is the one who came up with the scoop design because Greg and
Brave
Trey
Couch-
wanted to have two
Dave
helicopter blades for weapons.
Madness.
Greg and
The
Beautiful
robot that is
madness.
famous for being a wedge was going to have two helicopter blades. And this explains, ladies and gentlemen, why drones were brought into BattleBots in 2016.
Ah, little
I
Spitfire.
love the fact that Greg and Trey have never stopped this wonderful madness. And I do just want to take a point whilst we're on this topic of Greg and Trey to, genuinely thank them for the robot combat show currently on TV. Without BattleBots right now, a lot of energy that's being channeled into robotics wouldn't have a funnel system, as it were. It wouldn't have an end goal for a lot of people. Run-of-the-mill nobody a few years ago is now taking a physics degree because of BattleBots, because I'm on a BattleBots team and I want to learn more for that BattleBots team and to assist them. So I'm taking a physics degree. Greg and Trey started from the very bottom and now they are, they run this fucking sport, yo.
I would like to
Oh, yeah,
say
100%.
we did an episode on wedge bots And a lot of people nowadays look down on wedge bots, rammers, and then you think about a robot like La Machine
Where's the active weapon?
that didn't need an active weapton.
Until they actually did
Blasphemy.
add an active weapon to it.
Yes, and this was what I was about to say, because they added a pneumatic punch to top of the scoop, which would help with flipping robots, which the only wait, no, 101 didn't have something like that, but the only other robot I can think that's done that, and please correct me if I'm the referee here, is Spawn of Scudder. But I don't know any other robots.
Oh,
think of
yes.
anyone else. I can't
Yeah.
think of anyone else who's done pneumatics as a pneumatic push. I can think of many pneumatic spikes.
But as something to help lift robots.
I think
Spawn of Scudder, I think, was the only other robot that's done it. So, and as far as I'm aware, Spawn of Scudder did it fairly well as well. So,
Well, Cassius too also had a spike and also Atomic as well, but like that's the two I
I'd
can
say
think
they're
of.
just like, you've got things like Cassius Atomic 101, which is just to try and spike the opponent, but this is more of a purpose.
Yeah, Spawn Scudder really showed like this can
But
be a
then to
deadly
think that
weapon.
many years earlier, that machine did it first, and I think it worked. It's quite weird to think I could do
Anything
better.
you can do, I can do
I
better.
think it's weird to think how much La Machine pioneered.
It's mad to think how
Yeah.
much of a
No,
huge amount it actually had.
I mean, if you look at the other two robots we've looked at tonight, Blendo and Mortis, Mortis, very complicated, very involved. Blendo being big spinner, and then you got this, which is just shiny, very shiny box. Wedge. Shiny it moved.
Shiny it
He's
moved.
happy,
I'm happy.
and I'm happy because of that. Do we have any other points we want to make about La Machine?
I don't think there's much more we can say other than the fact that, a lot of modern robots owe their entire existence to La Machine.
Oh yeah.
Well, in that case, I think we'll move on to the voting process then. So I'm going to need to see some movement for the last time. Where you put in La Machine?
I'm going for the Reina.
I have to agree. I don't think we could put it anywhere else.
It's
This has
not
been a
been a very controversial episode, is it?
It's been a very difficult episode to do. Because
It's a
Hey,
positive
that's
episode.
all right. We're allowed a bit of positivity now and again. I am also going to put La Machine straight into the arena.
So there you have it.
Huzzah!
I don't think it's the first time it's happened, but I think it's the first time in a long time we've had 3 robots going 3-0. And to be fair,
has it happened before?
I'm going to research.
Yes,
probably.
It has.
The BB, the BattleBots recap with Sarah Malian.
Yep.
We 3-0'd all 3 of those.
Yes, I think we came close with Derpy's design, but we all decided Death Warmed Up deserved to die. So there you go.
And Chinabots was very close as well. It was 3-0, 3-0, 2-1.
But yeah, there you go. I think this might be the second time it's happened. So yeah, and to be fair, I would feel very wrong if any of them had a pit vote, because then I'd have to kill you, I'm afraid. But to recap, so we started off with Mortis, which went 3-0. We went to Blendo, which went 3-0. And then finally, we ended with a nice shiny box that moved, which means everyone's happy. La Machine, that goes 3-0 as well. Yeah, it's not been a rather...
Blimey.
Yeah, it's not been a bit of a debatable episode in parts, but yeah, we've all agreed it's all positive scores, and
What a happy episode.
we sound so happy.
With sunshine and rainbows.
Hang on a minute. We've brought Anthony McMurney onto the podcast and everything's been bloody lovely. Anthony, can you stay? Please?
I would definitely stay. Yeah.
Oh dear. So I guess on that note, we'd best wrap up. So Anthony, where can we find you in the wonderful world of the internet?
You can find me at 2p Milk 8908, and obviously everyone knows by now that I run Ant with Anarchy with my good friend Stephen. And if you like miniature robot combat, you can see it there. See little Antweights fight. We also have loads of different crazy mental designs, so we like to keep everyone entertained.
Fantastic. So there you go. Anway Anarchy, make sure to check it out. It is a very good series.
Yeah,
As for-
all of us in ESC are huge fans of Antway Anarchy.
We are definitely. Yeah, I guess it's time for us. So I'll start. If you want to find where I'm lurking, Diork on YouTube, Griblork on Instagram, and that's about it. Oh, on Twitch.
Insta when?
I hate you so much. It's a dead meme. Dead meme.
Memes will never die.
Yeah.
Says the owner of Eric quite aptly.
Here's a question for you. If I own God, does that make me a god?
Holy fuck, that's a philosophical question.
It's too late for this.
No one's ever answered that.
I guess if you own God, then that makes you a god.
In my religion, it makes you a titan, but you don't want to be one of those.
Oh.
You don't want to be one of those. They all had very unfortunate ends, apart from Gaia.
Look, it's too late for all this.
Super Saiyan God. That's what I am.
Anthony is a Super Saiyan.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, it actually would. I'm the god. I'm the god. Oh,
There
I'm
you
the
go.
god owner. There we go. That's a good one.
I'm happy with you
The
being a Super
gatekeeper.
Saiyan as long as you don't blow me up with a Kamehameha. I like breathing, thank you.
When Spirit Bomb.
No, please.
I'm more Vegeta than a Goku.
I love that you pronounced it Vegeta. Oh man, my favorite Dragon Ball character is Fajita. He's great Mexican food.
Fajita? What does the scout say about the heat level?
Oh, it's over 9,000, mate.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh no, he's back.
Oh.
I'm gonna sell the gazebos now.
That's gonna make no sense to anyone until the edit at the
Ladies and
end.
gentlemen, we please encourage you to check out our sponsors for this episode. Dickhead Generals, Gazebo and Garden Supplies, and Pillage Gloom Fables. Check the links in the description below.
No.
Pillage Gloom Fables, that's my role. Don't put me out of a job.
Nelly
trust
is,
me. Trust me, see, Eric, I think I scared the shit out of a couple of the kids that live near me because I was putting Eric into the workshop.
Oh, you said
and-
about this on the chat, didn't you?
Yeah.
I
So
haven't heard this.
the way I said it in the group chat, people thought, "Fuck, he's dead." No, the way it happened was the way I was lifting Eric was the jaw mechanism. Sometimes will stay closed and you can lift it, and sometimes it'll just spring open. And at this day, I thought it'll just stay closed, but because I was putting all my strength into holding the jaw, it sprung open and I lost grip, and it came towards me and landed on me. Well, landed on my leg. It didn't really hurt that bad, like. But with the kids had seen this, they thought that all I could hear is them screaming, thinking the robot's eating them, and run away. So I had
They're eating him.
yeah,
They're
because
gonna eat me too.
the people are terrified of this. Like my neighbor. The reason why I think I mentioned the wall incident, I vaguely talked about the wall with one of the robots that I have. I was testing it, but I don't know with yourselves when you're driving your robots. That sometimes you forget you're going forward. Like you're doing a little test drive and then you go back, forward, left, and reverse it. Unfortunately, I went forward thinking I was going reverse and I hit the wall. Well, when I say hit the wall, I went through the wall.
Anyway,
ESC would like to formally apologise for the delay.
Yes, apologise to me. You're wasting my time. Empress, Talk Knight, where can we find you two?
Well, you can find me on Team Nelly the Ellie bot. We're going to season 5. I'm gonna eat Bite Force's wheels. I'm coming for you, Venti Frappuccino. You can also find me on Reira the Bard on the Twitter. It's my most active platform if you want to follow and find out what I'm doing. Also, the Shuntposting group and the BattleBots group, both of which I'm a moderator in, and I'm just a generally active person in the community. And of course, I'm building a new beta weight at the moment. Ariadne kind of had a hiccup in the test box SXS. So we're building something a bit more reliable and sensible now, and basically building a beta weight bike force called Holy Diver, which looks like a lovely lighthouse because I'm a nerd. And that you can follow on, of course, Trans-Cendant Robotics with a hyphen between trans and cendant because I'm some form of comedian.
So basically what you're saying is Ariadne had a resentment.
Ariadne had an accident.
I love that. That's a great way. It did a thing.
It set itself.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
Did it move?
And
There we go.
red
There's the
parts
point.
were
I'm
shiny.
And then it was shined even
Ooh.
better when it was on. Sorry.
Fire's always
I
good.
could just feel the Empress's rage.
I can
Anthony,
hear it.
you know that positivity. I'd love some more of it right now, and if you can save me,
On chop and
if you can
lollipop.
save me, that would be great. 'cause I feel the
Unfortunately, I
Empress
don't have
is
much
gonna
more
strike down.
positivity to give. My robot was savaged by 3 spinners in a row, so it's going to be getting a new version if coronavirus ends and I can get back to my workshop. You can follow all of that on Team Motte and Bailey, my Facebook page. You can also go and follow the ESC Facebook page for updates behind the scenes stuff. I encourage you to subscribe. In case you haven't guessed, we've got an ESC extra coming out, which is just random chats we've been having with Anthony, which should give you some context to some of the craziness in this episode. Not all of it, though. We are just a bit weird.
Just like our new sponsor, Dickhead Generals, Gazebros, and Garden Suppliers.
I am making that a
Please
thing.
do.
Just
we-
use that. You know that
That's my
terrible
new
picture
sponsor.
of me tormenting Nate with a link, the one that I'm using as my flag on Animal Crossing. Yes, that one. Also, I'm getting a new room on my Animal Crossing house tomorrow, and I'm tempted to just make it pictures of Detonator. What do you guys think?
I second
What
that.
you do in the comfort of your own home, none of my business.
She is my daughter, Oliver. How dare you? I don't know what websites you've been on.
Oh no.
I am a good
And on that
Christian boy.
note-
How dare you?
I
You play
Lie.
Dungeons and Dragons. You are part of a cult.
I think on that note, I think it's time to end this
Yeah, well,
madness. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at ESC, Extremely Satanic Cult.
I'm behind that. Sure, fuck it.
Right, well, there you go. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
This is bad.
Bye.
What the fuck was that episode?